Recording in progress.
Are you making a speech? Like a welcome speech? Nowadays.
No, there's, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to fit over.
Gotta arch it.
Yeah, we're gonna arch it.
I'll make it work.
A female culprit at your bar appears, not destitute of hope, nor free from fears. Her utmost crime she's ready to confess. A simple trespass, neither more nor less. For truant-like she rambled out of bounds, and dared to venture on poetic ground.
The fault is deemed high treason by the men, those lordly tyrants who usurp the pen. Then try the vile monopoly to hide, with flattering arts you ladies have beside. So many ways to conquer, short is fit, you leave to us that dangerous weapon wit.
For women like state criminals, they think, should be debarred the use of pen and ink. Our author who disclaims such partial laws, to her own sex appeals to judge her cause.
She pleads old Magna Carta on her side, that British subjects by their peers be tried. Ladies, to you she dedicates her lays. Assert your right to censure or praise.
Nor doubt a sentence by such lips decreed, firm as the laws of Persian or of Mede. Boldly your will open court declare, and let the men dispute it if they dare.
Our humble scenes no charms of art can boast, but simple nature and plain sense at most. Perhaps some character or moral too, and what is stranger still, the story's new. No borrowed thoughts throughout the pieces are shown, but what our author writes is all her own.
By no slight hint or incident she tries to bid on modest cheeks the blush arise. The loosest thoughts our decent scenes suggest, virtue herself might harbour in her breast. And where our harmless satire vents its spleen, the soberest prude may laugh without a scream.
But not to mirth alone we claim your ear. Some tender scenes demand the melting tear. The comic dame her different powers to prove gives you the dear variety you love. Sometimes assumes her graver sister's art, burrows her form, and tries to touch the heart.
But fancy's pictures float upon the brain, and short-lived o'er the heart is passion's reign, till judgment stamp her sanction on the whole, and sink the impression deep into the soul. Act 1, Scene 1.
How's this, madam? Pursue me into my study, my sanctuary? I thought this place at least was to be considered by your ladyship as inviolable.
I hope I don't interrupt you, my dear.
I should be glad, Lady Medway, that we remembered our respective bounds. I never intrude at your tea table or toilet, and I desire my hours of retirement may be held as sacred by you.
I beg your pardon, my lord, but indeed you have made me so exceedingly unhappy by the sudden resolution you have taken in regard to marrying your daughter that I can find rest nowhere.
And so you are come like an evil spirit to take possession of me in order to make me as restless as yourself. I am really extremely obliged to your ladyship that I have an absolute dislike to being made uneasy, and therefore shall take it as a favor if you will, either at once, cheerfully acquiesce in what I have determined, or else go.
My lord, you know your will has ever been a law to me, but I beg of you to consider the cruelty of forcing young people to marry against their inclinations.
Madam, I did not expect this idle opposition from you, especially when you know my motives to this marriage.
My lord, you have not yet explained them to me. I can only guess at large.
You know I am harassed with debts. And I now tell you, I don't know where to raise 500 pounds more if it were to save me from perdition. And pray, let me ask your ladyship, do you know anyone besides Sir Anthony Branville who will take your daughter without a fortune? For I neither am, nor probably ever shall be, able to give her one.
But Louisa is very young, my lord. Why need we be so precipitate? Besides, if this match between Mrs. Knightley and your son should take place, it will be then in your power to provide for your daughter.
Right, woman. A hint is just started and you pursue, run it down, and seize it all at once. I have not yet proposed the thing to my son.
Certainly, my lord.
Oh, no doubt, Aunt. Love matches against the world. I suppose you, out of your eternal fondness, would recommend it to me to let Miss please herself in the choice of her husband, as her mamma did before her.
That reproach from you, my lord, is not kind. But I do not desire you let her please herself in choosing one she likes. Only do not force her to take one she hates.
Has she told you she hates Sir Anthony?
Not in express words, but the repugnance she
Perhaps
shows.
she loves someone else.
To tell you the truth, my lord, I believe she does.
And she has made you the confidant of her tender passion.
I extorted something like a confession of this sort from her.
And pray, who may be the happy man?
Young Branville, Sir Anthony's nephew, who is now on his travels and is expected every day home.
A forward little gypsy. Madam, I cannot give her a shilling. Sir Anthony is ready to take her as she is. And if they should have a family, is able to provide liberally for them all. On the contrary, if she follows her own soft inclinations in marrying Mr. Branville, I should have the pleasure of seeing myself a grandpapa to 2 or 3 pretty little beggars.
But my lord, as Sir Anthony has sent his nephew abroad at his own expense, it looks as if he meant to do something handsome for him. He is his uncle's heir in case he should die without children by marriage.
And so you think you can keep him in a state of celibacy by refusing him your daughter? Oh, fie, Lady Medway. Sir Anthony is not yet past the prime of life. Besides, he has owned to me that it was his being discarded by Mrs. Knightley to marry the first girl that fell his way, birth and reputation being all the fortune he desired with her. A man thus circumstanced is very little likely to continue a bachelor.
Before it be too late, my lord, let me once more beseech you to reflect on the misery of a married life, where on either side love or esteem is wanting. Have we not a glaring instance in Sir Harry Flutter and his wife? Are they not as wretched a pair as ever met in wedlock, perpetually quarrelling?
You have made a very unlucky choice in your example, ma'am. A foolish boy and a giddy girl. He married the wife his mother chose for him to get rid of his tutor. And she took the husband her wise father provided for her to escape from a boarding school. What can be expected from 2 such simpletons? With pretty much the same capacity that children shew with regard to poor little animals that are in their power in teasing and controlling them.
He does no more than other husbands.
She consists in contradicting and opposing him.
Never in each other, I am afraid, my lord.
And pray, ma'am, let me ask you, what mighty felicity have you enjoyed in being married to the man of your choice?
That is a strange question, my lord. I never complained of my lot, but if I have not been completely happy, it is not owing to any fault of mine.
Be sure you preach that wise doctrine to your daughter. It will become your prudence, and no doubt will be extremely agreeable to her pretty romantic notions. But prithee, let us have done with the subject at once. In regard to Louisa, in 2 words, I will be obeyed. to tell her as much. I shall see her presently, and expect such an answer from her as her duty shall dictate.
My lord, it is an unpleasing task you have assigned to me, but I will obey you.
That you have always done. So much the praise I will allow for you. But I am out of humor with everything. If this boy should dislike the match, I am undone at once. What a thing it is to have poverty staring a man in the face, and no way to keep the horrid spectre from laying hold on you. No way but one. It all depends on Medway's filial duty. 1,000 vexations crowd upon me altogether.
Scene 2. Oh, my dear Lord.
Why do you seem out of breath, Sir Harry? What is the matter?
Upon my soul, my lord, I've been so stunned this morning with the din.
It's all the way of them all, but I hope you are too well acquainted with your own prerogative to give her any satisfaction on those accounts.
Satisfaction? Catch me at that, and give it me. No. But pray now, my lord, how would you behave on such an occasion? For I should be very glad to find that my conduct squared with yours.
Why, not roughly. You know that is not my way. It is not manly. Besides, it would at once provoke and justify your wife's resentment. That thing won't bear repetition, for let them deliver your very words without the tone and the air accompanying them, and there shall not appear the least harm in them.
Oh, that's the secret I want to come at. That's the true art of tormenting, and what of all the talents your lordship possesses, I envy you for the most. Now, I'm rather petulant. Flash as quick as lightning, till I put myself into a confounded passion when I only meant to vex her, though I think I was rather temperament too this morning.
How was it? Let's hear.
Why, I came home at 3 o'clock, as I told you, a little tipsy too, by the by, but what was that to her? You know, for I'm always good-humored in my cups. To bed I crept as softly as a mouse, for I had no more thoughts of quarreling with her than I have now with your lordship. Last, she says, with a great heavy sigh, it is a sad thing that one must be disturbed in this manner. And on she went, mutter, for a quarter of an hour, I all the while lying as quiet as a lamb without making her a word of answer, at last quite tired of perpetual buzzing in my ear. Prithee be quiet, Mrs. Wobb, says I, and let me sleep. I was not thoroughly awake when I spoke. Do so, Mr. Drone, grumbled she, and she gave a flounce. I said no more, for in 2 minutes I was as fast as a top. Just now when I came down to breakfast, she was seated at the tea table all alone and looked so neat and so cool and so pretty that in God nothing in a while passed. I was going to give her a kiss when up she tossed her demure little face. You were a pretty fellow last night, Sir Harry, says she. So I am every night, I hope, ma'am, says I, making her a low bow. Was not that something in your manner, my lord?
Oh, very well, very well.
Pray, where were you till that unconscionable hour, says she. At the tavern drinking, says I, very civilly. And who was you with, sir? Oh, I'll match you for your inquiries. I named your lordship, and half a dozen more wild fellows, and 2 or 3 girls of the town, added I, whistling and looking one another way.
That was rather a little, though but a little too much.
Well, down she slapped her cup and saucer. If this be the case, Sir Harry, I shall desire a separate bed. That as I please, madam, sticking my hand in my side and looking her full in the face. No, it shall be as I please, sir. It shan't, madam. It shall, sir. It shan't, madam. It shall. And was bending backwards and forwards, so we were both out of breath with passion. And last she said something to provoke me, and I don't know what it was, but I answered her a little tartly. You would not have said it. I believe I'd give the world for your command of temper, but it slipped out. Faith.
What was it?
Why, I said, Faith, I think, as good as I told her she lied.
Oh,
She had burst out crying. I kicked down the tea table and away I scampered up to your lordship to receive advice and consolation.
Why, really, Sir Harry, I pity you. To be tied to such a little termagant is the devil. But 'tis the fortune of wedlock. The more a husband submits, the more a wife tyrannizes. 'Twas my own case at first, but I was soon obliged to alter my course, and by exerting myself a little, I brought Lady Medway to be as well behaved, I think, as any woman of quality in town.
So she is, upon my word, my lord. I cheat with you all my heart if my lady were a little younger.
Oh, undoubtedly, Sir Harry.
The woman would like it vastly. Your wife and mine, I mean.
How do you know that?
Why, I know mine doesn't care sixpence for me. And I suppose it may be pretty much the same with yours. And with all of them, for that matter.
That doesn't follow. But how do you intend to act with regard to Lady Flutter? I suppose this little breach will be made up like all the rest.
Not by me, I assure you, my lord. I don't intend to speak to her today. And when I do, she shall ask my pardon before I forgive her.
Oh, that's children's play. No, Sir Harry, if you would shew yourself a man and a husband, let her see that you despise her little girlish petulance by taking no further notice of it. I'd behave just as if nothing at all had happened. If she pouts, smile. You know she must give you an answer. If it be a peevish one, laugh in her face. Take up your hat and wish her a good morning. If on the contrary she speaks with good humor, seem not to hear her, but walk about the room, repeating verses. Then, did you speak to me, Lady Flutter? But without waiting for her reply, slide out of the room, humming a tune.
The case is plain, but the difficulty is in executing the thing properly. I am so warm in my temper. Oh, what would I give for your glorious cold sneer of contempt? I'll try it for it positively, and in God I'll now go to her and make the experiment. And so, my lord, adieu for the present, and thanks for this lesson.
Sir Harry, do you dine at home today?
I don't know how that may be till I have I hate that word. Concentrate.
Reconnoited.
Reconnoited.
Reconnoitered.
Okay.
We'll fix it.
When I
Don't
go
worry.
like that, you're gonna say it in my voice. I don't know how that may have. I don't know how that may be till I have reconnoitered your lordship. I know this not, and I hate to dine alone with the women.
Oh, I shall certainly be at home soon after dinner, for I shall long to know on what terms you and my lady may be at that time. If he follows my advice, I think she must hate him heartily. And then I step in as her comforter. And I have other business to mind at present. So many projects afoot without certainty of accomplishing anything.
Scene 3. Changes to a chamber.
My dear, it afflicts me as much as it does you, but you know your papa is absolute. I wish, therefore, you would endeavour to reconcile yourself to Sir Anthony.
Indeed, madam, it is impossible. If my heart were ever so much at liberty, it never could endure that forbidding man.
Child, you are too much governed by fancy. Though he is not quite in the bloom of his youth, yet he is far from being disagreeable. What is it you so much dislike in him?
Dear madam, sure the pomp and strange turn of his phrases, and the solemnity of his manner. It's almost ridiculous.
He is rather formal, I allow you.
And then his notions of love so extravagant, and his address so romantic. Nothing but flames and rapture in his mouth, and according to my brother's account of him, he has no more real warmth than a marble statue.
You find he loved Mrs. Knightley.
Peculiarities diverted her, madam, and she indulged him in them. I am told he used to sigh at her feet for half a day, and if he committed the smallest fault, she would impose a penance on him, which Sir Anthony always received as a mark of favour.
I am sorry, my dear, it is not more agreeable to you, for I am commissioned to tell you positively you must accept of him for a husband.
But madam, he has never spoken a word to me on the subject. I've seen him but a few times, and in short, I can't bear him.
Shall I tell your papa what you say? He no doubt will be perfectly satisfied with this determination.
Dear madam, sure you will not. Save me from my papa's anger, and no, I dare not open my heart to him. You are more like a companion to me than a parent. The authority of a mother is melted down into the kindness of a friend. My papa's severity has else been insupportable.
Louisa, you are not to give so harsh a name to your father's solicitude for your happiness. He is not to be shaken in his resolution. I have already exerted my utmost influence over him, and I am sorry to say it is less, much less, than it ought to be. Shh. I hear your father's voice below. He is coming up to you. I beg, my dear, you will let him see by your obedience that my interposition has had its proper effect. I'll give you the opportunity to talk to him alone.
Dear madam, don't leave me. My papa is so stern.
I go to avoid ungrateful appeals from him. Consent with good grace, Louisa, for 'tis certain you have no choice left.
Heavens, what will become of me?
Scene 4.
What is your pretty tender heart ruminating upon? Were you not thinking of Mr. Brandel?
No, my lord.
I believe you don't tell the truth, my lady. Look up, girl. Ah, Louisa, Louisa, that conscious blush. But 'tis well you have the grace to be ashamed.
My lord, if I do blush, I am not conscious of any cause, unless the fear of offending you.
Pretty innocent. All obedience too, I warrant. I hate hypocrisy from my very soul. You know that you are a rebel in the bottom of your heart. Speak honestly now. Would not you run away with Brandel this very night if it were in your power?
My lord,
My lord, I speak out, mistress.
I had your permission, my lord. I own I should be inclined to prefer him to any other.
Thou prevaricating monkey! Dissemblers too from the very egg, and without my permission, miss, what answer does your modesty and filial piety suggest to that?
That without it, I will never marry anyone.
I don't believe a syllable of that, but I take you at your word, and now I tell you that you never shall have it to marry him. How does your lovesick heart relish that?
My lord, I am resigned to your pleasure.
Now, ma'am, walk back if you please, for I have not done with you yet. Whither you were swimming with that sweet languishing air like an Arcadian princess?
I was going to my chamber, my lord, if you had not forbid it.
Forbid? Fie, what an ungenteel word to use toward the heroine in a romance. There are some surly fathers, indeed, who take those liberties with their children, but I, who know breeding better, only entreat, and therefore, ma'am, beg the favor of your company a little longer. What does the fool hang her head for? Your lady is dying for love, so the sluice is let out at last. You really look very pretty when you cry, Louisa. I had a mind to see how it would become you.
Indeed, my lord, you are too hard upon me.
How now, mistress, how dare you speak thus? What do you call a hardship? Love makes some timorous animals bold, they say. It makes women so with a vengeance.
My lord, I beg your permission to withdraw.
Stay where you are, madam. When I condescend to talk to you, methinks you ought to know 'tis your duty to attend to what I have to say. You know my mind already in regard to young Brandel. Your mother, I am sure, has always set you a good example. I was no pattern for you to follow. But observe what I say. I forbid you to think, but even think of Brandel. That is the first, and perhaps the hardest part of my command. The next, that you resolve immediately to accept Sir Anthony for your husband. And now, miss, you may, if you please, retire to your chamber. Go, get you gone.
Scene 5.
George, I'm glad you are come. That foolish girl has ruffled me so. I want to I want relief from my own thoughts.
I met my sister in tears. I hope, my lord, she has done nothing to disoblige you.
No, a mere trifle, only confessed a passion for a fellow not worth a sixpence, and has shown a thorough dislike of her father's choice.
My lord, she will consider better of it. I am sure my sister would willingly obey you with everything.
To what purpose is a father's solicitude for the welfare of his children if a perverse, silly girl will counteract his project? You, Medway, have ever shewn yourself an affectionate as well as an obedient son. I wish I could make you amends.
My lord, the tenderness you have always shown me deserved every return I could make you. I wish you no other amends but to see you easy in your mind and in your circumstances.
That's well said. But I expected as much from you. Suppose now that it were in your power to make me easy in both, and at the same time effectively serve yourself.
I wish it were, my lord. You should see my readiness to embrace the opportunity. But I'm afraid there is nothing now in my power.
Oh, you are mistaken. There are ways and means to retrieve all, and it was the subject I wanted to talk to you. There's a certain lady of fortune, son. What? Droop at the very mention of her? That's an ill omen.
My lord, I doubt my fortune never can be mended by those means.
No. Suppose the widow Knightley, with a real estate of 3,000 a year, and a personal one of 50,000 pounds, should have taken a fancy to you. Would you not be a means? You blush. Perhaps you are already acquainted with the lady's passion.
My lord, I am glad to see you so pleasant.
I am serious, I assure you. Why is there anything so extraordinary in a woman's falling in love with a handsome young fellow?
My lord, if the lady has really done me that honor, 'tis more than I deserve, for I never made the least advances.
Well, but how do you like her?
She is genteel, I think. I really never examined her features.
That's strange. Why, you visit her sometimes, I find.
I go to her house, my lord, but 'tis her younger sister whom I visit.
What sort of a damsel is she?
A most angelic creature.
Aye, then it seems you have examined her features.
My lord, I have known her long. Miss Richley, who, as well as her sister, was born abroad, was sent hither some years since for her education, and I became acquainted with her in the house of a friend of mine with whom she lived. Miss Knightley, who had married an English merchant, was then settled at Lisbon, and knew but little of her sister till lately, when, having lost her husband, she came to England and took the young lady under her own care.
So, perceive you know their history.
I do, my lord. Poor Mrs. Richley's part of it is a melancholy one. For her father was so partial to his eldest daughter that he left her by much the greatest portion of his estate, and what the youngest had to her share, she had the misfortune to lose by the breaking of a merchant in whose hands her money lay.
You are better informed than I am, I find. Well, but what do you think of Mrs. Knight?
Think, my lord, I really don't know what to think. The lady is very deserving, but...
But, oh, the damned buts! Am I to be butted by all of you, one after the other? There's your mother first! To be sure, she is very ready to acquiesce in everything I approve, but she thinks it hard a young creature should have any force put upon her inclinations, though it be for her own good. Then Miss Louisa, she is all obedience and submission, but alas, she has given away her heart already, and you too are perfectly disposed to oblige me.
My lord, you really distress me by entertaining the least doubt of that reverence I ever have borne towards you and ever will bear. But in a case like this, I own I love Miss Richley. And
what?
My lord, she loves me too.
I am sorry for it. Oh, son, that pretty face will not redeem our acres.
I never till now lamented her want of fortune, which I knew indeed from the beginning, but still hoped that I might one day be in condition to support her, as her own merit and my rank required. I even flattered myself that I should obtain your consent.
What? To marry a beggar, Medway?
I beg, my lord, you will not so harsh as a word. She is worthy of higher dignity than ever I could raise her to. What is the title, my lord, stripped as I am of everything besides?
That reproach is ungenerous, Medway. But I have deserved it.
Forgive me, my lord, I meant it not as such.
If you had, I could forgive it, but you will say no more on the subject. I will not urge you on so tender a point.
My lord, I thank you.
Answer me but one question. Are you under any promise to marry Miss Richardson?
No, my lord. Her generosity will not suffer her to let me bind myself by another tie than that of inclination, as I insisted upon her being free.
Oh, that's well. Then I do not see how your honor is so much concerned. And as for your love, when I was of your age, Medway, I had so many loves.
My lord, you were so kind as to promise you would insist no further on the subject.
Well, I have done. I shall see you in the evening.
My lord, I'll attend you.
The firmness of this young man's virtue awes me. I know in point of interest, with regard to myself at least, it will be impossible to prevail on him to think of this marriage, and the obligations he has already laid me under will not suffer to make on my own account so severe a trial of the tenderness and generosity of his heart. Let it go. I'll think no more on it. End of the first act.
Act 2, Scene 1. Addressing.
How to put my lesson in practice. If I can but hit on the manner, I'll pretend not to see her first. But if she should not come now, that would be disconcert the whole plan. Yes, Faith, here she is. Her curiosity, nothing else, I am sure, has brought her.
What do you want with me, Sir Harry?
I want with you, Lady Flutter. I never wanted anything with you in my life that I know of.
Why, didn't you send for me this minute and say you had particular business? I should not have been so ready to come, else I assure you.
Can't I believe I am wrong at setting out. It should have been all done as if by chance. What shall I say to her now? How do you like this suit of clothes, my dear? Don't you think it's very elegant?
Was that all the business you had with me?
Ma'am, I insist on you not going till you answer my question. Just how you please now, civilly or uncivilly. I am prepared for either, I can tell you.
And so, Sir Harry, I suppose you think with those airs to carry off your behavior to me this morning, do you?
You can't be a wife of your grace and faith, aren't you?
But I can tell you, sir, I won't bear such treatment to be drawn on and off like your bluff.
Are you speaking to me?
To whom else should I speak?
I protest that you not know you was in the womb, child.
Oh, ridiculous affectation, child! I'll assure you.
So now it begins to work. If I can just be cool, but if your providence divine for greatest best design her to obey your will at any time, I am ready to resign.
Absurd.
To resign.
Stupid!
To resign to her.
Stupid!
Madam!
I indeed.
chamber, madam, directly and instantly. And let me inform you, once and for all, that you are not to take the liberty of coming into my dressing room. A man's serious hours are not to be broke in upon by female impertinence.
A man's.
Those flippant airs don't become you in the least, ma'am, but I don't think a silly girl worth my serious resentment. Retire with your trumpery work. I choose to be alone.
Then I'll stay.
Then, ma'am, I must...
Vex you.
Then, ma'am, I must teach you the obedience that is due to the commands of a husband.
A husband? Oh, gracious. Defend me from such a husband. Oh, a battledore and shuttlecock would be fitter for you than a wife, I fancy.
And let me tell you your pertinence. A dog would be properer for you than a husband. There's for you.
You'll be a boy all your life, Sir Harry.
And you'll be a fool all your life, Lady She.
I shall be the fitter company for you, then. You are vastly polite, sir. Do you ever see Lord Medway behave thus to his lady?
And did you ever see Lady Medway behave thus to her lord? If you go to that, reck me but a man had better be a galley slave than married to a simpleton that ought to be sewing herself.
And I'll swear, a woman had better be a ballad singer than joined to a jack-o'-dandy that ought to have a satchel at his back.
Devil take me, but I have a good mind to break every bit of your china.
Do, and make chores of them to play with.
Shit, I lost my place. A provoking? You provoking in...
How dare you call me names, sir? I won't be called names. I'll tell my papa of this, so I will.
Oh, pretty baby.
Laugh and cry, laugh and cry.
For shame, wipe your eyes. For shame, wipe your eyes and don't let them see you this way.
I don't care who sees me. I'll bear it no longer. I'll write to my papa to sing for me. I'll go to my Uncle Bronville's this very night.
Lady Flutter, I'm sorry to see you in tears, madam. I did not know you had been at home. Sir Harry, I ask your pardon. Perhaps I intrude. No afflicting news, I hope.
News? No, there is nothing new in the case. I assure you, my lord.
Then, Sir Harry, I'm afraid you are at fault here.
Indeed, my lord. He is always in fault.
If your lordship takes a word for it.
I should be glad to mediate between you, but I really don't know unless I were informed of your cause of quarrel.
I'll tell you, my lord.
No, I'll tell him.
Looky here now.
He sent for me, my lord.
Not I, indeed not.
I say you did, Sir Harry, on purpose to tease me and talk nonsense to me.
Oh, fie, Sir Harry. Could you find no better entertainment for your lady than talking nonsense? This is a sad account.
Faith, my lord. A man must unbend sometimes and indulge in a little foolery. I would be teased.
And there he went on, repeating silly verses to show he wanted to get rid of me.
Mere wary, my lord, but she does not understand that.
I should have not minded that so much neither, for I could be even with him in his jibing airs if he had not at last called me names. Downright abusive names, my lord. But I'll put an end to it at once.
Wrong. Was this the advice I gave you?
Oh, my lord, you can't imagine how provoking she was.
I dare say. My papa will be very ready to take me home again.
This must not be. You don't you condescend to desire her stay. I'll try to persuade her.
Oh, she's a vixen.
I'll establish your empire. I'll engage if you will give me the opportunity of talking to her.
Faith, I wish you would, for I am almost tired of this struggle.
Are my chairmen on the way? If they are, order them to get ready.
Going visiting so soon, Lady Flutter?
Only to my Uncle Bronville's, my lord. It is proper to acquaint him with my design.
Make some excuse, quickly, to leave us, or all will be over.
I will, you shall see. Bless me, you will. I'm surely the most thoughtless fellow breathing. My lord, can you forgive my rudeness now if I run away from you? I must show the nature of my engagement, though, and that I hope will be some apology. Wednesday, half an hour after 5, you see, it's almost that already. Perhaps I mustn't stay long. I'm very sorry to leave your lordship alone, though, but you will forgive me.
Leave me alone on the front page of the slide, babe. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
I'm very sorry to leave you, your lordship, alone, though, but you'll forgive me?
Leave me alone. Well, if you would go have good company as well as that you should leave.
What does your lordship say?
Oh, nothing, ma'am. But that I can excuse Sir Harry's going as he leaves me in such good company.
Oh, my lord, I am nobody in Sir Harry's opinion. But indeed, at present, I should be but a very dull companion to anyone. So, I am sure your lordship will excuse me if I take my leave.
A quarter of an hour, I hope, ma'am, will not break in too much upon your time. But he seems to have gone out in your chair.
Gone out in my chair? See that, my lord? Did you ever know the like? Pray, my lord, where is he gone? I saw he showed you his memorandum.
You're gone on business, I think, of some kind.
Business? I don't know of any business that he has. I'm sure it is some other engagement.
Oh, what am I thinking of? 'Tis to the play.
The play? He could not have been in such a hurry for that. So early.
He was to go to a party and to call on some people. By the way, that was the case.
I don't much care. But I am sure that was not the thing neither. What I heard you say, it were well if he were going to half as good as company as that in which he left you.
And I should certainly say, ma'am, let him be going to whom he would. But Sir Harry has a depraved taste.
I don't doubt. But he is going to some of his tavern ladies. With all my heart. I don't love him well enough to be jealous of him.
Why, indeed, my dear Lady Flutter, I can say that Sir Harry is quite so deserving of you as I could wish he were. For he is a mere boy.
I shan't be with him long, that's one comfort.
But my dear ma'am, consider how that will appear in the eyes of the world. Here you are, but a little while married. What must people think of a separation? Your good understanding is unquestioned, your personal accomplishments admired by all who know you. The blame then must all fall on poor Sir Harry.
And so that's it for me.
He deserves it. Don't you think a little stroke of censure may possibly glance on you? For everybody knows that your prudence is much superior to his.
My lord. You compliment now.
On my life, I don't. I'm sure I have said it 1,000 times that I don't know a woman of fashion in town with half your talents.
Oh, my lord.
On my word, I'm serious, and between ourselves, Sir Harry is thought to be but of very moderate parts.
That is very good.
Your discretion will make a proper use of the hint. Oh, Lady Flutter, a beautiful and accomplished woman is a gem fit only for the cabinet of a man of sense and taste.
What were you saying, my lord?
I believe I was saying, or at least I was thinking, that you are
What now?
a charming woman, taking you all together.
Fiddle faddle!
Indeed you are.
What would you advise me to do with this foolish boy?
Well, whatever you do, don't think of parting from him.
But what can I do? My lord, he is so intolerably
for the ill humor of her husband?
Not that I know of, my lord.
I could name you some, if you would give me leave.
You have my leave indeed, my lord. My stars. What a charming thing good sense and good nature is. Your conversation has, I don't know how, soothed me so that, no, I'm not happy. Yet, I don't find myself so much out of temper as I was a while ago.
Oh, that Sir Harry and I could change situations. Then would be the loveliest woman in England, be the happiest.
Lord, my lord, what's that for?
Sir Anthony, you're most obedient.
My lord, I esteem myself extremely happy in the agreeable hope that I now see your lordship in perfect health.
I thank you, Sir Anthony, pretty well.
And you, niece, I assure you I have very proper proportions of my unfeigned esteem and good wishes, as likewise hath my worthy nephew. Sir Harry, whom I should have been proud to have found in this good company, and deem both myself and him unfortunate in his being absent from it.
Sir Harry doesn't think so, I believe.
What does my niece Flutter say?
Oh, nothing, uncle.
Pardon me, I apprehended you had uttered something. Well, my lord, I am next to inquire how your excellent lady does, and the fair young lady, your daughter.
Both at your service, Sir Anthony.
May I presume to ask the Christian name of the young lady?
Why do you inquire my daughter's name, Sir Anthony?
Why, my lord, there is a pretty familiar tenderness in sometimes using the Christian name that is truly delightful to a lover. I wish myself to be considered.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. My uncle? Miss Medway's lover? I shall burst if I stay.
Louisa, Sir Anthony, is her Christian's name, which you are at liberty to use with as much familiar tenderness as you please.
My lord, I have a most lively sense of the very great honor your lordship does me, and I can assure you my heart, if I can with certainty venture to pronounce about anything which is in its own nature so uncertain.
Oh, now he has gotten to his purposes.
My heart, I say, is endeavoring to reassume that liberty of which it has so long been deprived, for no other purpose than that of offering itself a willing captive again to the fair Louisia's charms.
Very well, uncle. I see this visit was not at all intended for me. I find you have something to say to my lord, so I won't interrupt you.
No, niece Flutter, upon my reputation, this visit was meant wholly for you, as I could not possibly divine that I should have found his lordship with you, to whom I intended to have paid my respects separately and apart.
Lady Flutter, I ask 1,000 pardons. We turn you out of your apartment. Sir Anthony, will you do me the favor to step into my study?
No, indeed you shan't, sir. I'll go and see what the ladies are doing. I fancy they think I am lost.
Sir Anthony, I assure you I should think myself very happy in the alliance with a gentleman of your worth.
My lord, you do me honor.
I have mentioned you to my daughter.
Mention me, my lord.
Wouldn't you have had it so, Sir Anthony?
My lord, the profound respect I have for your lordship makes me unwilling to criticism on such proceedings as you in your wisdom have thought expedient. But I am a man, my lord, who love method.
Sir Anthony, I imagined it would have been agreeable to you, or it should have been very far.
Conceive me right, Lord Medway. 'Tis perfectly agreeable to me to be looked on with a favorable eye at the virtuous young lady, your daughter. But, my lord, to tell you sincerely, my heart is at present in a flux fluctuating state.
I am sorry then, sir, that the thing has been mentioned at all. I understood you were determined.
Oh, good, my lord, your patience. I am determined. That is to say, my will is determined. But the will and the heart, your lordship knows, are two different things.
Sir Anthony, I should be glad we understood each other at once. I apprehended Mrs. Knightley's ill usage of you had made you give up all thoughts of her, as you seemed determined to marry, and declared yourself an admirer of my daughter, who, I must say, is, I think, as unobjectionable a wife as you could choose.
Undoubtedly, my lord.
I was willing to give my consent, and I thought you appeared as ready to embrace it.
True, my lord, and so I do still, most cordially.
Why then, sir, would your determination for a young woman of family and reputation must not be trifled with?
My lord, I believe trifling is a fault which was never yet attributed to Sir Anthony Branville. My lord, I am above the imputation, and your lordship would do well to remember that I have the misfortune to be of a warm, not to say of an impetuous disposition.
Sir, I don't mean to provoke your wrath.
Oh, you are the father of my mistress, my lord. That thought restrains my fury. But this woman, Mrs. Knightley, once thought her an angel. She, I say, has not yet dismissed me in form. Until that is done, I think myself bound in honor not to make a tender of my heart or hand to any lady whatsoever.
Oh, Sir Anthony, I find you have still an hankering after the widow.
By no means, my lord, not for the world. For as I told your lordship, I would not trust my heart with such an interview. No, I know the witchcraft of her beauty too well.
How do you mean to disengage yourself then?
My design is to indite an epistle to her, and to request that she will, under her hand, in full and explicit terms, give me an absolute and final release from all the vows I have made her.
I think you are perfectly right, Sir Anthony.
As for seeing her, 'twere safer, my lord, to encounter a basilisk, I assure you.
My lord, I beg your pardon. Your servant told me Lady Flutter was here.
I am glad he made a mistake, madame, yet it has given me the honor of seeing you.
I am quite ashamed of this, my lord. I just came to prattle half an hour with Lady Flutter, and to try if I could tempt her to the opera. And here I am broken in upon you, so unawares. Oh, bless me, Sir Anthony. Is it you? I declare I did not see you. Why, you barbarian? Where have you been for this month past? My lord, do you know that Sir Anthony is one of my lovers?
That Sir Anthony was a lover of yours, madam. He has but too fatally experienced.
And aren't you so, you inconstant toad?
Take my advice and make your retreat as fast as you can.
Impossible, my lord. The magic of her eyes renders me immovable. But I'll try.
What? I suppose my lord is your confidant? You see, I have made him mine too.
Will you allow me to the honor of gallanting you to the opera, ma'am? I dare say Sir Anthony, on such an occasion, will excuse my leaving him. 'Tis almost the time, I believe.
Oh dear, my lord, too soon by an age. Oh, I'm such an impatient creature. I can't endure to wait a minute for anything, and therefore never go to any public entertainment until after it begins. Is not that the right way, Sir Anthony? Oh, but I should not ask you, who are so phlegmatic you could wait till doomsday for anything.
Come, ma'am. You're too severe on my friend Sir Anthony. For heaven's sake, ma'am, don't keep this poor lover any longer in expectation. Dismiss him fairly at once for your own honor, as well as in pity of him. Sir Anthony, you'll excuse me for a few minutes.
My lord, I shall beg leave to wish your lordship a good evening. I was just going away.
Why, sure you would not be such a clown as to leave me by myself, Sir Anthony? I can't go, for think
Flavia listened to my sighs, and fanned the amorous blaze, that love which revelled in my eyes grew wanton in her praise.
I protest. I did not know you were so good a poet.
Oh, well, the muses, madam, are not as stingy of their favours. I have been indulged with some rapturous intercourses with those ladies, I can assure you.
Oh, fie, Sir Anthony. What, tell tales?
No aspersions, madam. 'Tis very well known they're all virgins.
Well, but now let's hear what you can say to me in prose.
Oh, truly, madam, this unexpected encounter has so disconcerted me that though I have much to say, I am utterly at a loss where to begin.
Why then don't begin at all, Sir Anthony, for I think you are generally more at a loss at how to make an end.
Madam, I must beg the favour of being allowed a hearing, a patient one. Madam, for such the nature of my case requires.
Is it a physical one, or a case of conscience, Sir Anthony?
Neither, madam. I did propose to unfold my mind to you in a letter.
But then if I should not unfold your letter, Sir Anthony, which is a thing that might happen, in that case I should never know your mind, you know?
If you won't hear me, madam.
Oh, well, I will hear you. But squeeze what you have to say into as small as compass as you can, my dear Sir Anthony.
The occasion, madam, of my giving you this trouble is as follows. I have courted you, madam, that is made honourable addresses to you for the space of 6 months, during which time you gave me all the encouragement.
Encouragement? Ah! Oh, all your powers of chastity defend me. Encouragement, Sir Anthony. Oh, what nature, pray?
Your pardon, madam, constantly with modesty, I mean, or such as become a virtuous lady to bestow on a passionate admirer, for such I pronounce myself to have been.
Oh, I understand you now. Well, sir?
For a time I was favoured with your smiles, and had reason to believe that my faithful passion would have been crowned with success. When all of a sudden, to my unutterable astonishment, the sunshine of my hopes vanished.
Only stepped behind a cloud, Sir Anthony, to play at Bo Peep with you.
Oh, madam, a total eclipse, I assure you. My visits were repulsed, my letters unanswered, and finally your doors shut against me.
Oh. Did I do all this to poor Sir Anthony?
You did, madam, tyrant. You did, you know you did. And now, madam, I would fain learn the reasons for such usage.
Reasons? I never gave a reason for anything I did since I was born.
That is rather extraordinary, madam. But if you will not condescend to give me my reasons for your cruelty, all I have left to desire, or rather to demand, is now, from your own lips, to receive my final doom.
Why, I shan't marry these 10 years, Sir Anthony.
That, madam, is an undeterminate answer. I humbly request the favour of a final one.
Why? What are you in such a hurry for? I protest, Sir Anthony, I begin to grow jealous.
A final answer, madam.
I'll be hanged if I have not got a rival. Oh, faithless man, that has sworn I don't know how many times over to be true to me till death, and I, like the rest of my easy sex, to believe you.
Madam, let me most humbly beseech you.
Begone, dissembler. But what could I expect from such levity as yours?
Levity, madam. Levity. I absolutely disavow the charge. Pray, madam, let me implore you for the last time. Grant me this favour.
Bless me. Why, sure, Sir Anthony, you would not offer to kiss me.
No, heavens, madam, kiss you. Madam, let me take the liberty to inform you that since I could distinguish between virtue and vice, I never took so unwarrantable a freedom with any lady upon the face of the earth.
My goodness! What's all this about? Mrs. Knightley, my dear? What's the matter?
I protest, my dear, your uncle is so very amorous that it is not safe to stay alone with him.
Madam, I blush for you. Humbly asking your pardon for being so free as to say so.
Blush for yourself, Sir Anthony. You have most cause.
What in the name of wonder is all this about?
Oh, Lady Flutter, I'm ashamed to tell you of his behaviour.
My uncle's behaviour, madam.
Madam, I demand, in the presence of my niece aforesaid, that you will give me a full and formal acquittal of all my vows and promises to you.
I must take time to consider it, that, Sir Anthony. Vows are a serious thing.
I insist on my release, madam.
I don't know whether it is safe to give you one, Sir Anthony. I must consult a lawyer first.
Madam, I only asked for the favour of being discharged. A favour I was never refused by any lady before, I assure you, niece.
That I dare say. Well, I can't for my life understand all this.
Oh, he's a rebel in his heart, that's plain, and only wants a pretense to forfeit his allegiance, but I won't give him the satisfaction.
Then, madam, since you urge me to it, in one word, I here cancel all my vows.
It is not in your power.
Renounce your empire, madam.
I defy you.
And utterly disclaim your favour.
Stubborn traitor.
And now, madam, I will withdraw my person and my heart.
Not your heart, Sir Anthony.
Both, madam. I do aver to you, and you will make an offering of them, and will make an offering of them where they will be more honourably and more gratefully entertained. And so, madam, I am, with proper respect, your most obedient, though rejected, humble servant. Miss Flutter, I have the pleasure of wishing you a very good evening.
And I return you my very unfeigned acknowledgments for ridding me of your most insipid solemnity, my dear Sir Anthony. Poor soul. To whom is he going to offer his platonic adorations? Do you know, my dear?
Why, by what I gathered just now, from the conversation between my lord and him, I find Miss Medway is likely to supplant you.
Supplant me? My dear creature. Why, sure, you can't suppose I have ever had any serious thoughts of the poor man, humbly begging your pardon, as he says, for taking such liberties with your uncle.
I should wonder if you had. I am sure nothing but his fortune could have made my lord think of him as a son-in-law.
Sir, Miss Medway approve of this thing. She's a sober sort of guy.
No, intolerably so. I hardly ever converse with her. Though under the same roof, she is forever poring over a book or a needle. But I don't suppose she likes him either. I have heard it whispered that she loves my cousin, Moranville.
If I thought so, I would keep Sir Anthony dangling this 12 months out of mere compassion to the poor girl. Notwithstanding his threats, I know he's still devoted to me.
But how would that square with your views in regard to Colonel Medway?
Oh, my sweet friend, that question has made me serious all at once. I can laugh at Sir Anthony no more. Indeed, I have not lately had spirits enough to be diverted with him, and for that reason tried to shake him off. I do not think of the Colonel. I came here this evening on purpose to consult you. My lord, who I perceive is a man of the world and full of design, dropped some hints to me about his son, by which I find the thing would at least be very agreeable to him. Yet the Colonel has not been near me since. Wish I knew his sentiments.
I'm sure I can't inform you, though there is none of the family very communicative, but my lord, he is the best of them, that is certain.
Ah, Mrs. Knightley, my adorable, may I kiss your hand?
Oh, Sir Harry, you have missed such an entertainment. Here has been Sir Anthony.
Well, what did Uncle Parentheses has to say to you?
Oh, he has abandoned me. I'm doomed to wear the willow garland.
Ah, you cruel devil, you. 'Tis you who abandoned him, I dare say. What, Lady Flutter? I'm amazed to find you here. I thought you'd abandoned me, as Miss Knightley says, and that by this time you had taken post for Oxfordshire in order to tell Papa that Sir Harry was such a naughty boy. He would not give it in his way and everything. Mrs. Knightley, when I went out this evening, she was going to elope, absolutely bent upon running away from her husband.
And you see, ma'am, the return he makes of me for my good nature and not doing so. I think, Sir Harry, after the provocation I received from you, if I changed my mind, you ought to be very much obliged to me.
My dear, if changing my mind be an obligation, I owe my obligations to you on that scores are innumerable.
I suppose you think that witty now? Pray, good people, am I to be left out of the conversation?
Oh, ma'am, my lady Flutter is so extremely quick in her repartee that you will find it very hard to put in a word, I assure you.
And Sir Harry is so immoderately fond of hearing himself talk that he does not desire either of us to give him any interruption, I assure you.
Not your ladyship, I assure you.
Well, I vow, Sir Harry, if you were my husband, I should hate you, for all you are such a handsome toad.
Indeed you would not.
Indeed I should.
Go, you little hypocrite.
Get you gone, you rattlepate. I don't mind what you say. Come, Lady Flutter, will you go with me to the opera, my dear?
With all my heart. Anywhere rather than stay at home.
Well, you see, ma'am, what a happy man I am in my domestic felicity. But here, Lady Flutter, you must give me leave to interpose a little of my lawful authority, and therefore I desire, if it be not too great an honor, that you will oblige me with your company at home this evening.
Indeed, I shan't, Sir Harry.
Then, ma'am, I say, indeed you shall.
Bless me, Sir Harry. You aren't serious, sure. I am vastly sorry I proposed the thing at all. I won't go to the opera for my part. I'll stay and chat with you, if you will give me leave. Or suppose we had a pool at piquet.
By no means, ma'am. Why should you deprive yourself of your entertainment for her childishness? I'll attend you to the opera myself.
Indeed you shan't, for I won't go.
Oh, indeed you shall, and I will go with you.
I vow you shall neither of you go, and so goodbye to you.
So, Sir Harry, you have exposed yourself prettily.
Not in the least, my dear. I have only shown you.
It is well one of us has a little discretion.
Meanwhile, your wise self, I presume, but to show you that I have a small share too, I will enter into no further disputes with you, but leaving you to your agreeable contemplations, following my charming Mrs. Knightley to the opera, who I fancy will prefer my company to your ladyship.
Very well, sir. If I'm not even with you for this.
Alone, ma'am? What has become of Mrs. Knightley and Sir Anthony?
Both gone, my lords. My uncle broke away in resentment, never a thing to see her more.
So, what have you done with Lady Medway and my daughter?
They are after their evening meditations, I suppose, my lord.
Oh, they read together every evening, but you seem ruffled, my dear Lady Flutter. What is the matter?
Sir Harry.
What of him?
He has been here since, but so intolerably rude and provoking. Positively, there is no enduring him any longer. I should be sorry to leave your lordship's house so soon, where I've been so kindly received, but I determined not to continue under the same roof with Sir Harry.
If your departure were to be punishment only to Sir Harry, I should not oppose it. That he deserves it, all your resentment. But my dear Lady Flutter, I could name another whom you would make infinitely more unhappy by your absence.
Who could that be, sir, my lord?
Suppose I were to name myself.
You who are very obliging, my lord. I have not the least doubt of your friendship.
Friendship, my dear ma'am, sometimes assumes a tenderer name when a man entertains it for a woman, young and charming like yourself. What ought it then be called?
Why, friendship, to be sure. What else? What should it be else?
Shall I tell you?
No, I won't be told.
Then you guess.
Not I, indeed.
not that a sweeter sound?
Ah, 'tis a sound with which I am very little acquainted.
Then let me be your tutor, to teach you a science in which Sir Harry is not worthy to instruct you.
Oh, my lord, if I had met with you before I was married, and before you were married, but it's too late now.
You must not say so. What are marriage ties if the heart is not joined? 'Tis that alone which makes the union sacred.
That is the chief thing, I grant.
With regard to Lady Medway now, she is a good woman, and I esteem her as much, but there is no love in the case, so that I consider myself absolutely a single man. 'Tis just the same with you and Sir Harry, but he slights you, and you very justly despise him, so that to all intents and purposes, you are a single woman.
I wish I were. I'm sure, my lord.
Why, so you are, my dear ma'am. If I thought otherwise, though I confess I love you to adoration, I would sooner stab myself in the heart than endeavor to win your affections.
Indeed, my lord, I believe you.
Then since you are equally unhappy in wedlock, what crime can that be to our mutual endeavors to console each other?
I am sure I don't mean any harm.
Then why will you talk of leaving me? You know Sir Harry is too indifferent to be concerned at separation. The grief, the disappointment will all be mine.
Indeed, my lord, I should be very unwilling to make you uneasy, to whom I owe so many obligations.
Then speak no more of departing. I have 1,000 things to tell you. The delightful subjects we are upon is inexhaustible, but I can never get you for half an hour to myself.
Why, no, Sir Harry is so perpetually whiffling backwards and forwards, one can't be alone a minute for him.
I have thought of an expedient to which will secure us against all interruptions in the future.
What is it, my lord?
You know Lady Lovegrove, who sat in the box with us at the play the other night. I'm sure she would be glad of your acquaintance. I'll introduce you to her, and there, you know, when you go of an evening to drink tea, I can meet you, and we can enjoy an hour's conversation without being interrupted.
I protest, that will do very well. But we must not let Sir Harry know a word of my acquaintance with her, or maybe some evening he'll be for thrusting himself in.
No, by no means. He shall never be of our party. Come now. I fancy by this time the ladies have done with their sober studies. Suppose we were to join them.
As you will, my lord.
A word more of parting, remember?
I'll try what I can do to oblige your lordship.
Oh, Lord Medway. This is beyond what I thought you were capable of. But I will, if possible, prevent the destruction you have planned.
End of the second act. Act 3, Scene 1. Scene changes to the Widow Knightley's.
I would not have mentioned it at all if I thought you could have suffered it to make so serious an impression on you.
It ought not, I confess, knowing as I do the truth and generosity of your heart. And yet, I cannot help being alarmed. An immense fortune and a fine woman, as my sister really is, the temptation is so great that it were anyone but you.
Indeed, my dear Clara, these fears of yours reproach at the same time that they flatter me. It is necessary that I should tell you for the 1,000th time that I never can love any woman but yourself.
I do not want to be convinced, and yet I own I am pleased to hear you repeat 1,000 times what your father's authority.
Believe me, you have no reason, for though no son was ever more obedient of a father's will than I have always been of his, yet In this particular concerns of my heart, I must be my own director. This my father knows, and I hope he will never urge me more upon the subject.
But if he should?
Would you have me swear to you?
Oh, not for the world. I am full of apprehensions. The truth is, I am not very happy at home. My sister is of late grown cold and peevish to me. I never suspected the cause before, but it is now too plain.
Did she ever mention me to you?
Never but in a careless way. And yet, I think since your father's last visit to her.
You shall not long be subject to her tyranny. My father already knows the secret of my love, and I think that his regard to my happiness will even out balance that.
Oh, I wish it may. Oh, bless me, here's my sister.
I thought you'd been alone, Miss Richley, and came to chat with you. But I see you are engaged.
I hope my being here, ma'am, will not deprive Miss Richley of the pleasure of your company.
I believe, sister, we shall both think our conversation very much improved by your making the third in it.
I don't know that. A tete-a-tete is to the full as often disagreeably interrupted as improved by another person.
That, madam, I am sure, can never happen when you make the addition.
I should be sorry it were the case now. I own Colonel, but to tell you the truth, I have vanity enough to be mortified at the thought of being considered an intruder.
Bless me, madam, I know of but one circumstance in the world which could possibly place you in such a light.
And what is that, pray sir?
Where an inferior beauty was meditating a conquest, and you stepped in to snatch it from her.
An inferior beauty? I protest, Colonel, I don't well understand that. There is an appearance of gallantry in the compliment, and yet there is something a little mystical in it too. Clara, are you good at solving riddles?
You know I have a very literal understanding. Besides, I think what the Colonel says requires no explanation.
Then, my dear, I won't affront you by making application.
If you should, sister, I am very ready to acknowledge my part in it, but you should consider that by the remainder you would draw on yourself that imputation, which but now you wished to avoid.
You see, Colonel, the mysterious speech you have made has a fate of all oracles, to be interpreted different ways, and perhaps none of them right. Nay, I'm inclined to think it bears a still nearer resemblance to them, and that you, like the priest of old, delivered what you said without any inspiration of God. What then? What then? You think he really is in love?
Don't you hear him acknowledge it?
Nay, madam, if you won't take my word for it, I can't see what reason you have to believe anyone else's.
Why, no, that's true. But where a matter of faith doesn't concern oneself, infidelity, you know, can be of no greater consequence, one way or another.
Very true, sister. But skepticism is a dangerous as well as an uneasy state in some cases.
And a state of security, Miss Clara. The causists in love, as well as religion, are agreed, is not always the safest. But I don't know how we fell upon this odd topic.
Nor am I am sure.
I don't know how we came to talk of it.
Clara, you are a monopolist, but I will have my share in that compliment. I don't know, Colonel, though, what your mistress would have to say if she were to hear you say so.
She'd forgive him, I dare say.
Come, ladies, I see by your pursuing this subject that you have a design of getting my secret out of me. I think my safest way is to make my retreat before I betray myself.
How long was the Colonel here before I came in, Clara?
Not above a quarter of an hour. Why do you ask?
Because it is quite astonishing to me how a man of his vivacity can be entertained by such a piece of still life as you are.
Why, sister, it is not an infallible maxim that we most admire those who are exactly of our own disposition. I now, for example, who am naturally grave, admire sprightliness in other people.
So it seems.
And the colonel, though extremely lively himself, may, however, not derelish the conversation of a serious woman.
Ooh. Indeed, Clara. You are a very conceited girl. I dare swear if the colonel says fine things to you, you believe every word of them.
Indeed, sister, I have as humble an opinion of myself as you or anyone else can possibly have of me.
Well, I'm very glad to hear of it, child. For I own I think vanity would not be a very desirable companion in your situation.
Damn.
What have I done to deserve these severe taunts from you?
Oh, Clara, if you accuse me of severity, I must tell you that you're an ungrateful girl, and I fancy we shall not continue much longer together.
I am not quite so destitute, madam, but that I can still be received by that friend who had the care of me from my childhood.
Very well, madam. I shall consider of it, but perhaps I may find out a more legible place for you.
I see, sister. You are resolved to disapprove of everything I say or do. My company is become irksome to you, and for the present, at least, I will rid you of it.
I was very unlucky in ever taking her into my house. Had it not been for that, I should never perhaps have seen the only man who probably could have given me a minute's uneasiness. I am puzzled at his conduct. And yet I suspect now more than ever that they love each other. And if it be so, I shall know it too soon, for I am sure Lord Medway is thoroughly in my interests. Yet my suspense is unsupportable. I will give orders to the servants that any letters directed to my sister should be brought to me. I suspect that girl has got into silly intrigue.
Scene 2. Changes to Lord Medway's.
I was afraid you were not well, Lady Flutter, as you lay so long this morning.
Good morning to your ladyship.
I hope I don't interrupt you, madam.
I rested ill last night. Nothing more.
I hope I don't interrupt you, ma'am.
Not in the least, but I value you as so ceremonious, Lady Medway, that you will not allow me to think myself at home.
I should be very sorry for that, madame, but you know there are times when one would not choose to be broken in upon by anyone.
Your ladyship is excessively obliging. You and Miss Medway are such housewives. You quite shame me. This is prodigiously pretty. Who are these ruffles for?
My lord, to be sure. Where is Sir Harry this morning? I have not seen him yet.
Dear Lady Medway, don't ask me about him, for I know nothing of him.
What? Not of your husband, my dear? Well, Lady Flutter. When your young necks are a little more inured to the marriage yoke, I hope it will sit easier on the road.
Oh, impossible. He grows worse and worse every day.
Now really, there I must differ from you. I never took Sir Harry to be ill-natured. Hasty and petulant, I grant you he is.
Madam, I hope you will allow me to be the best judge.
You have reason to be so, but to stand by may form an opinion.
I don't know what your ladyship's opinion may be, but I am sure it is the opinion of others, a woman so unfortunate in a husband as I am.
I must say, Lady Flutter, that if even I were so, they are not your friends no more than Sir Harry's, who would endeavour to persuade you to such a belief.
Bless me, ma'am. Why isn't it visible to all the world? Doesn't all the town ring of his ridiculous behaviour and wonder at my patience at bearing it?
Indeed, Lady Flutter, I believe you are mistaken. The town have something else to mind beside Nobody but your particular friends trouble their heads about it.
Oh, dear madam, I know there are some tame wives in the world who can submit in silence to any usage, but I am not one of those. I assure you, I have not been used to control, nor I won't be controlled. That's more.
Softly, dear Lady Flutter, I don't mean to offend you. I would argue with you as a friend. Pray speak lower. I would not have any of our servants hear on what subject we are discoursing.
Gracious, why, every servant in the house knows how we live.
But madame, don't you think your unguarded complaints without doors and perhaps your unadvised choice of confidence within may lead you into some more inconvenient?
I don't well understand your question, Lady Medway. My choice of confidants?
Yes.
Within?
Male ones. I mean, for example, now if a young married lady should make a choice of a gentleman whom she should open her heart and let him so far into her confidence as to tell him she despises her husband, what do you think must be the consequence?
What? Why, I suppose he'd think he'd imagine. I don't know what he'd think.
I'll tell you. He'd think, perhaps, that a liking to him had as great a share in the lady's contempt for her husband as any real fault of the husband's.
If he thought so, I could not help it, but I'm sure there is no one to whom I complain will draw any such inference.
There is nothing but what is very natural in all this, Lady Flutter, and the gentleman on this supposition will think himself bound to make an offer of his love to the lady. She perhaps receives it.
Lord, man, these are strange conclusions.
If this should be the case, what must ensue? Oh, Lady Flutter, an innocent young creature like you should start at the thought.
On my word, Lady Medway, I don't understand such insinuations. If Sir Harry insults me, I am not obliged to bear it from everyone.
I am sorry, madame, that you construe a friendly caution into an insult. I am your friend, perhaps the only one who has the power of saving you from your destruction.
Destruction? Madam, I could not have expected this from you in your own house. I believe my lord would not thank you for treating me thus. But if you are tired of me, madam.
Oh, my dear madame, you are in very great error. My lord is the greatest enemy you have in the world.
You may happen to be mistaken in that, Lady Medway, as well as other things.
I must tell you, I am no stranger to my lord's designs on you.
His designs on me?
Yes, madame. His cruel, his infamous designs on you. Oh, Lady Flutter, you stand on a dreadful precipice. Do not reject the kind hand that would snatch you from your certain ruin.
This is extraordinary language. It's such extraordinary language, Lady Medway, that really, I don't know what to say to it. I little imagined I should have created any jealousy when I came into your family.
I own there was a time when I might have been influenced by jealousy, but I have outlived it, and I'm not now actuated by so selfish a passion. Pity to your inexperienced youth, friendship to your worthy parents, regard to the honour of your husband, joined to the tenderness and duty I owe my lord, are the sole motives which urge me to save you all, if possible, from ruin. I know my lord makes love to you, and that you have an assignation.
If he has been so treacherous as to tell this.
I am certain of that. I know too well the nature of his connections with Lady Lovegrove, and now, my dear, if you would escape the snare which is laid for your undoing, be advised by me, who am your true friend.
I don't think I have a friend in the world.
You are mistaken. I am sincerely so. My lord is a man of pleasure, and is perhaps any other vice. Your youth and agreeable person were alone sufficient to attract him. But when superadded to this, he found you despised your husband, and made no difficulty of owning it to him. It almost amounted to an invitation.
An invitation? Lady Medway!
To a man of his caste, madame, it certainly does. Your unacquaintedness with men of intrigue makes you blind to your own danger, but indeed, Lady Flutter, there is but one step between you and inevitable shame and misery. What do you think must be the consequence if Sir Harry should discover that you have appointed a private place of meeting with my lord? Was your own heart, if you can justify this to your husband and to your friends?
Lord bless me, Lady Medway. You terrify me. I'm amazed how you came to the knowledge of this.
It is a happiness to you, madame, that I have, if by it I can be the means of saving you.
I own I was a fool for consenting, but sure, madam, you won't be so barbarous as to tell Sir Harry. It would give him such an advantage over me. I can't bear the thoughts of it.
If I thought I could rely on your honour and discretion, I certainly should put you
Madam,
to
I will quit your house directly if that will satisfy you.
By no means, madame. How would you answer that to your friends? Here you came to town to stay the winter with me, and before a month's time elapsed, quit my house.
Well, I can tell them that Sir Harry is so insufferable that I can't live with him.
If you will be ruled by me, Lady Flutter, for 1 week, nay, but 3 days, I'll engage that Sir Harry and you shall be as happy as any couple in England.
Oh, gracious. You could as soon convert us into angels.
But will you promise to be guided by me?
Oh, dear Lady Medway, I know you would recommend patience and submission and all that, but I never can, nor never will, submit to his humour.
Why then, madame, I shall think it my duty to write to your father immediately, and let him know the danger of your situation. For though I am sure the parting you from your husband would afflict him, yet 'tis better he should receive you while you are innocent.
What is it that you would have me do, madam?
Your task is not hard if you are disposed to set about it. You are married to a very young man, Lady Flutter, who, though he is warm and volatile, does not want sense, and I am sure is good-natured in the main.
Dear Lady Medway, you are enough to turn one's brain.
Hear me out, madame. He, I will allow, is too ready to give offence, but you in your turn must grant that you are as sudden in taking it. Give me leave to tell you 'tis your duty also to correct yours, and I'll answer for it that Sir Harry will follow your lead. For I am sure he loves you a great deal better than my lord does. Let him tell you what he pleases.
I wish I could see any proofs of it.
Will you make the experiment?
I will do as you would have me. You yourself shall be the judge. But then remember, you are not to write to my papa.
I will not. And remember, you are not to have any private conferences with my lord.
How does your ladyship do this morning? I am tired to death, and I have been at my bankers and jolting all over the detestable city. Defend me. Why your head is dressed so barbarously, Lady Flutter? You look like 10 furies by my life, an absolute Medusa. Pretty, who gave thee that formidable appearance, child?
I'm sorry you don't like it, Sir Harry. I'll not employ that Frenchman anymore.
Then I'm sure you don't like it yourself, for Sir Harry's judgment has not the happiness of having any great weight with you.
No, I protest. I think it quite becoming and genteel.
Then it must be to oblige you, Sir Harry.
Undoubtedly, ma'am, that's her study.
On my word, Sir Harry, I would make it so if you would let me.
My dear, say that over again, pray. It sounds vastly pretty, if it were but true.
Well then, seriously, I would rather dress to please you than anybody.
Okay, Lady Flutter, Irony is a mighty ticklish weapon, and you can handle it very awkwardly. Lay it by or you'll cut your fingers.
I declare, I vow, I am in earnest.
Oh dear man, but you're a bungler.
But Sir Harry, why should you doubt that Lady Flutter is serious?
Why really, man? Because I never knew Lady Flutter serious in anything.
In which I fancy, however, she has not succeeded, Sir Harry.
If that be the case, then I am resolved to take another course and try what my endeavours to please him will do.
What do you say to that, Sir
Oh,
Harry?
cat, I don't know what to say to that. There is something devilishly pleasant in hearing her talk so. If humor would but last.
Take my word for it, Sir Harry. It will be your own fault if it does not.
Faith, man, I should be glad to keep up the ball as long as I could.
Indeed, indeed, Sir Harry, I will never quarrel with you again.
Upon your honor.
Upon my honour.
Nor I with you upon my soul. Shall we grow fond of one another?
Immensely.
Agreed. I'll never find fault with anything you do.
Nor I with anything you say.
I'll never contradict you.
Nor I you.
Sweet.
My dear Sir Harry.
Well now, isn't this charming? I congratulate you both on your happiness and leave you to the enjoyment of it.
Do save me, but I think you prodigious agreeable if you were always in good humor.
And upon my life, I should think the same of you.
How came we not to discover this sooner?
Because we never tried to find out. Lady Medway was the first that told me we might be happy if we pleased.
Faith that she has more sagacity than my lord. For he was of a contrary opinion and used stupidity of all things.
For what?
For being married to you.
Really?
Truth upon my word.
I see his treachery. Then, Sir Harry, I will convince him of his error by making the best wife in the world.
Oh, you charm
In
me.
spite of him.
You charming creature shall grow too fond of you. I won't let you be so engaging, hussy.
You shall, though.
Pray my lord come in.
Oh, Sir Harry!
I have a sad complaint to make to you. This is certainly the most perverse girl.
Oh, Sir Harry, that is the old story. I won't hear what you have to say.
But my lord, this is new. A quite spick and span new affair. She has taken such a resolution.
Not to part.
No,
I hope.
No, my lord. A much stranger thing.
Why? What can that be?
You will be amazed when I tell you. We were disputing about it when you came in.
I'm sorry, Sir Harry, to find you always in dispute with your lady. I wish from my heart I could compose your differences.
Oh, she's very spirit of contradictions, my lord.
Depend on it, Sir Harry. I will have my own way in this.
And in everything else, I'll be sworn.
Oh, no, you must not.
I will.
What is the matter?
Why, my lord, is the oddest thing in the world. She is resolved, right or wrong, in spite of what I can say, to be very good and make me love her, whether I will or not. Don't you think that is monstrously provoking?
And he, my lord, has taken up as accountable of a design of never contradicting me in anything. Is that not as provoking?
Aren't we a couple of fools, my lord?
Why, really, Sir Harry? If this could be, I can't say. I'm sure I sincerely wish to see you both on good terms. And if I have found out a way, with all my heart. I am glad to see you so merry, my young gentry. Sir Harry. I have a word to say to you. Why are you undone, man? And won't you let them turn back?
Oh, my lord, you're quite mistaken. Oh, this is serious.
Come, I'll have no plotting.
Oh, she won't get tired of you, I see.
shall we?
Never! Sir Harry, now that you intend to be very fond of me, I desire that you will grow a little jealous and tell my lord that he must not come into my dressing room a morning.
Faith, my lord. Is that true? I begin not to relish the Spartan scheme as well as I did.
Mighty fine. This is an extraordinary metamorphosis, if it holds.
You need not fear, my lord. We have your good wishes that it should, I know. Come, Sir Harry. I want to go to an auction this morning. Will you be so good as to give me your company?
With all my heart, my dear, I'll attend you, and see here I received all this today. You little plunderer, give me a kiss. I'm gonna have another one.
Oh, go, you extortioner! Day, my lord!
What can be the meaning of this? Damned little coquette. So much art in her years. Or is it owing to my wife's interposition? Yet she knew not of my design. Anyway, I am ashamed to be baffled so ridiculously. And that puppy Sir Harry, too. Oh, and now Sir Harry.
Scene changes to Lord Medway's study.
Sir Anthony, I am glad to see you. I was really in great pain for you yesterday when I was obliged to leave you in the magic circle of Mrs. Knightley's charms. I wish you joy in your escape.
Oh, my lord, I humbly thank you. 'Tis a felicity to me, I acknowledge. For my lord, there never was such a siren such as Circe. Scylla and Charmides were harmless innocents to her. But heaven to be praised, I am my own man again. I come to make a most respectful offering of my heart to the truly deserving and fair Lady Louisa.
Sir Anthony, I have already told you I shall be proud of your alliance and my daughter. I make no doubt is sensible of your worth. Therefore, Sir Anthony, the shorter we make the wooing.
I have found it so to my cost. For would you believe it, my lord, this cruel woman is the 8th lady to whom I have made sincere, humble, and passionate love within the space of these last 13 years.
You surprise me, Sir Anthony. Is it possible that a gentleman of your figure and accomplishments could be rejected by so many?
I do not positively affirm, my lord, that I was rejected by them all.
How was it then?
Blemishes, my lord, foibles, imperfections in the fair ones, which oblige me to withdraw my heart.
Why then the fault was yours, Sir Anthony, not theirs.
I deny that, my lord. With due submission to your better judgment, it was their fault. For the truth is, I never could get any of them to be serious. There is a kind of instability which runs through the gentler sex, which I assure you has thus long deterred me from wedlock.
Then, Sir Anthony, I find you have been peculiarly unfortunate in the ladies whom you have addressed.
Supremely so, my lord.
Yet I do not know how it was in the long run that they either absolutely refused making me happy, or else were so extremely unguarded in their conduct that I thought I could not consistently with honor confer the title of Lady Bramville on any of them.
Your lot has been a little hard, I must confess. I hope, however, that honor has been reserved by fate for my daughter. She is your 9th mistress, Sir Anthony, and that, you know, is a propitious number.
Oh, my lord, I take the liberty of hoping so too. And that she is destined to recompense me for the disappointments and indignities I have received from the rest of womankind.
Why then, Sir Anthony, I suppose I may now present you to her in the character of a lover.
My lord, I pant for her happiness. one. That would debase the dignity of the passion and deprive me of many delightful hours of languishment. There was a time when a lover was allowed the pleasure of entertaining his mistress, but our modern beauties will scarce permit a man that satisfaction. Ooh, she comes! The condescending nymph approaches!
Now,
She comes! She comes!
Well, she will later with these endowments.
Come on. You're...
I'm tempted to just watch him work. Louisa, you are no stranger to Sir Anthony Granville's merit. He is a gentleman of family and of fortune, a most embellished honor, and very uncommon endowment.
Oh, my good lord. Ordinary slight accomplishments.
You are, therefore, to think yourself happy in being his choice, preferably to any other lady. And now, Sir Anthony, I'll leave you to pursue your good fortune.
Sir, won't you please sit?
Miss Medway, madam, I have obtained my lord your father's permission. I humbly presume to approach you in a delightful hope that after having convinced you of the excess of my love.
I hope, Sir Anthony, you will allow me a reasonable time for this conviction.
Madam, I should hold myself utterly abandoned if I were capable, at the first onset, of urging a lady on so nice to a point.
I thank you, sir, but I could expect no less from a gentleman whom all the world allows me to be very pattern of decorum.
Oh, 'tis a character, madam, that I've always been ambitious of supporting. Whatever struggles it may cost from my natural fervour. But let me tell you, madam, a beautiful object is a dangerous enemy to decorum.
But your great prudence, Sir Anthony, leaves me no room to suspect.
I am obliged to call it to my aid, I do assure you, madam. For spite of the suggestions of passion, I by no means approve of those rash and impetuous lovers who, with regard to the delicacy of the lady, would at it were rush into her arms. Pardon me, madam, for so grossly expressing the idea.
Oh, Sir Anthony, I am charmed by your notions. So refined, so generous, and I must add, so correspondent with my own.
Madam, I am transported to hear you say so. I am at this minute in absolute ecstasy. Will you permit me, dear madam, ravishing satisfaction of throwing myself
Oh, by no means,
at
Sir
your
Anthony, I
feet?
could not bear to see it just so. If you suppose it done, if you please. I prostrate myself in imagination, I assure you, madam. Now, Sir Anthony, as you see, my papa is impatient for the honor of being related to you, and that I am bound to an implicit obedience. I am afraid, unless your prudence interposes, that we shall both be hurried into wedlock, with a precipitancy very inconsistent with propriety.
I declare, madam, I am of your ladyship's opinion, and am almost apprehensive of the same thing.
How is this to be avoided, sir?
Bien sûr, madam. I too well know what is due to virgin modesty, to proceed with that rapidity which my lord, with whom I have not the honor of agreeing in this particular, seems to recommend.
You're very kind, Sir Anthony.
No, madam. Should pay but an ill compliment to your transcending merit. I did not think it worth sighing for a considerable time longer, I assure you.
It's very noble in you, Sir Anthony. So passionate, yet so nice. All lovers were but like you.
The world, I will presume to say, would be better, madam. But then, I hope your rigors will not extend too far, my dear lady. few months or so. Longer than that, I should be very near tempted to call cruel. I can tell you.
As my passionate lover seems so well disposed to wait, I may have a chance to escape him. Your extraordinary merit, Sir Antony, will undoubtedly shorten your time of probation. Meanwhile, as I hinted to you before, that my papa is rather in haste to call you son, I would not have him imagine that I give any delay to this union. He may call my duty into question. You apprehend me, sir?
Perfectly, my dear madam. And if I may presume to interpret what you have so charmingly insinuated to my apprehension, you would have me just hint to my lord that you are not quite averse to honoring me with your fair hand.
That I am ready to do so. Please, Sir Antony.
Very good. But at this time I shall give him to understand that I am not as yet entitled to receive that very great happiness.
To that purpose, sir, for I would not have this necessary delay appear to be of my choosing.
You little know, madam, the violence I do myself to repress the ardor of my feelings.
I rely entirely on your discretion, Sir Antony, to manage this affair with my papa.
No, madam. I shall convince my lord that it is from very sublime motives. I submit you postpone my felicity.
I'm much obliged to you, Sir Antony, for this generous proof of your passionate regard to me. Sir, I won't detain you.
I must absolutely tear myself from you, madam, for gazing on so many charms. I may grow unmindful of the danger.
Sir, I will no longer trespass on your time.
I must fly, madam, lest I should be tempted to transgress those rigid bounds I have prescribed to myself.
Sir, you have to consent to retire.
I am so overpowered with transport, madam, that I hold it necessary to withdraw.
'Tis the best way, Sir Antony, you humble servant.
Madam, your most devoted. Oh, dawning of ecstatic bliss!
I think I may go now and be very safely assure my papa that I'm ready to take my adorer whenever he